and welcome to tonight's episode 5 of Tag Talking with Ryde-Eastwood. Okay, on last week's episode we had Denise Tam, Clara Wong, Deborah and Joey Ibrahim. If you happen to miss out on last week's episode, all you need to do is go back to just head to our wall, and all the videos are constantly put up there, so be sure to give it a like and that. If sorry, I just lost my train of thought. I just had a moment blank. We've also got our videos up on our YouTube channel as well, so be sure to head over to that and subscribe to our channel, along with all the previous games of grand finals. As I can see, a lot of you are giving up the thumbs up and that. Just make sure you keep it going when you tune in, to make sure that you go into a draw to win a prize on the last week. Now, talking about that at the same time, make sure you do tune in for episode 8. At the end of the episode, I will announce how the prizes will work, just so you are familiar with what will be taking place. So make sure you tune in for that one especially. Tonight's episode, we have John Florio. We have the co-coaches of the men's B team in Michael Poon and Jonathan Trim. And then finally, we'll end the segment with Simone Malaro. So guys, just make sure you give us a like when this video goes up, and continue to support us. Any feedback is always welcome. So we'll get started with our first one in Mr. John Florio. Johnny, how are you, mate?
Finally.
Oh, mate, it's good to see you're up with technology.
Mate, amazing.
Mate, it's been
old man, mate. Old man.
Before we get started, congratulations on the wedding.
Thank you so much.
I saw the photos, looked amazing.
Thanks, mate. Thanks.
Okay, so let's get started into this.
Want to say hello to my wife?
Okay, yeah, let's get started into this. Talk about when you got involved in OzTag and how that was, because you've been involved for quite some time now.
Oh, mate. So I started playing OzTag back in, I think it was 94. So, my sister's just turned up. Babe, can you tell her? Sorry, dude. Sorry, guys. Sorry, everyone. Whoever's watching. Just going to close the door. I'm really prepared for this.
Always prepared.
Oh, mate, you know me. Yeah, so started playing OzTag after, playing a lot of touch footy, and then pretty much in 94 with the guy that I played OzTag with first was Tyrone Smith. Don't know if you know Tyrone Smith. He used to play for the Balmain Tigers and also
Canberra Raiders and that.
The Raiders, yeah. Tyrone Smith. So when he was a young kid, his father, I played in their team, and so from there, I just fell in love with OzTag, and that was it. I never played touch again, virtually.
Well, from there, you've gone on to play State Cup, Nationals. You've also represented Australia. I've seen some of the photos, and then you've also represented Italy at the World Cup as well.
Italia, mate. That was my, that's the greatest feat was playing for Italy, mate, not Australia.
Well, it's talking about that. So would you say that would be your highest achievement or something that represents the most significant moment to you?
Italy?
Yeah, like would that be one of your probably your best moments?
Playing for Aussies, definitely playing for the Aussies when I was 30. That was amazing. Yeah.
Okay, so while playing as well, you've also had some form of involvement in running competitions.
Yes.
Can you elaborate on that?
Well, Mr. OzTag approached me many, many years ago and said, would you come along? Him and his brother asked me if I would help him to run OzTag competitions, because I started a touch football comp called Sydney City. It's called the Sydney City Touch Association. So I started that. It was a junior touch comp, and Fidel approached me and said, would you like to help us out? And I was like, oh, yeah. So then, basically from there, I became a part owner of Sydney City OzTag back in the day.
Long time ago.
Competitions in, Wentworth Park, Hornsby, Canterbury, Croydon, everywhere. Wherever we could get our hands on.
So basically, you helped out in establishing a lot of these places along with Fidel.
Pretty much,
back
yeah.
in the day.
When we first started out, we had 6 teams, and then it's growing into what it is today.
Okay, let's talk about where you are today with Play On Products.
Play.
Now, how did that come about, and how did it get involved in OzTag?
Well, I'm a pretty handy massage therapist, some people say. So I like to, cause a lot of pain with these elbows, So funny enough, my grandma's a naturopath, and when I got into massage as a young whippersnapper, I used to use a lot of her products on all of my clients, and one of them particularly was Play On, which used to be called magnetic liniment, actually. And that product, people just bragged about it. Everyone just would say to me, you've got to put this on the market. You've got to put it on the market. You've got to put it on the market. And I'd be like, yeah, I'll do it. Oh, one day, one of those things. And then when I met my wife, she had a background in being able to sell products online. And also she had a pretty prominent business in selling healthcare products. And, she basically helped me, gave me a nudge, and we came up with a name. A friend of mine actually suggested, why not call it Play On? And I was like, oh, that's it. So we came across, so I looked it up. Play On Products was available, and I was like, what? Couldn't believe it. And then that was it. So, yeah, the rest is history. So, a lot of our sales are through the OzTag market. OzTag is our biggest selling market. And it's just growing every day from it, so it's doing really well.
Well, talking about market now, you've set up a stall at, each time we go up to coughs and that, there's always Play On Products, which I've noticed over the last couple of years especially. But not only just that, you've also privately sponsored a number of teams.
Have I?
Well, there's obviously the likes of Selwyn and his crew, and then
Yeah.
I've come to you on a few.
Yep.
Is this your way of expanding Play On Products?
Definitely. Well, we came up with that, thing that you guys done where, we give back. So for every bottle of Play On that you sell, we give you back a percentage of that bottle. Therefore, that leads to sponsorship. And we felt that was a really good way to get our product out there, but also give back. And because a lot of the times when you are a sponsor, you give the money, but you don't really get much back. So this is just a way that we came up with, and Selwyn's taken it on. Tamworth OzTag took it on. They were the best. They were the first team to take it on. They sold over, I think they sold like 350 bottles of Play On. They raised over $5,500 for their club, and that helped them to travel over to New Zealand to the Pacific Cup. Yeah, I think back in the day. Yeah. It was really, 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 really good way to fundraise, to make money by selling Play On, because your mum, your dad, everyone's got pain, so it really, really helps with that. So yeah.
Well, I definitely know the product works because I use it. My best mate's used it. His mum's used it.
Yeah.
But as we head into the last two questions, I want to ask you,
Yeah.
as a sponsor, what is it that you're trying to gain from obviously sponsoring?
For me, it's funny because Play On's like, it's a family thing, and I just want people to feel better. Might sound stupid, but you know what I mean? Yes, of course, money's there, and I love money, but I just want people to feel better. I want people to use the product and enjoy it. That's what I want.
Okay, so as a sponsor, what advice would you give to other people? Obviously, every single person comes from within some form of business or knows someone from business. And if they were looking at getting involved in sponsoring, what advice would you give them in sponsoring, given you've done it for a number of years now?
You've just got to think of really interesting ways of being able to get your return on investment from what you actually give out. So, like I said before, when you do sponsor clubs, like I sponsored the Balmain Tigers and spent $25,000 and I got nothing. You know what I mean? Like, and they basically did nothing for us, really, other than, you're part of Balmain Tigers, and it really did nothing. But being involved with OzTag and doing this sponsorship, where you sell it, where you sell a bottle and then you get given back, has been, I think it's the best way to, for somebody who wants to get involved with sponsorship. You've got to look at incentives and ways of being able to give and for them to give back to you.
That makes perfect sense. Now, John, before I let you go, just want to make sure that you're still there. I haven't lost connection, have I? John, can you hear me?
Hello?
Yeah, John, you there still?
Yeah, mate.
Yeah. Before I let you go quickly, if people want to purchase some of your products, where's the best place to go to for that?
Just go to playonproducts.com.au or .com. So it's playonproducts.com. That's where you can get it.
All right, awesome, sweet. Thank you for that, John. I really appreciate you giving up your time tonight. And I'll let you head back to the family.
See you guys. Have a good one. See ya.
Cheers, mate.
How do I get out of here?
Okay, guys, there you have it. That was John Florio, who runs Play On Products. Now, definitely look into his products, as I've used it myself, and they definitely work. A few other people from within the competition have used them as well, and yeah, I can't speak highly enough of that product. So he's definitely on to something really well there. Now we're going to head into our next special guest. Now it's a joint special guest of Michael Poon and Jonathan Trin, who are the co-coaches of the Men's Opens B team. Boys, how are you?
Good, mate.
Good.
How's it going?
Well, considering I only saw you, a matter of hours ago, still pretty good.
Oh, it's been too long.
Been too long. Okay, boys, tell us how you got into OzTag and when that was, because Pooney, I know for you, you haven't been around for that long, but Jono, I'm still waiting for that information from you.
I like Queen to go first then.
You should go first because you started it.
Oh, okay. I played OzTag back in high school in year 9 and 10. That was just for fun. I don't think I really knew how to play. I knew how to play footy, but not OzTag as what we know it now. And then back in 2016, I tried out at Fairfield. I think that was one of the early State Cup teams. I don't know how long Fairfield's been around for. But yeah, and then luckily no one knew me. I just played maybe a few seasons with like a family team at Fairfield with my cousins. Then tried out for a rep team and somehow made it. I don't know what Bill Hogan saw in me because he picked the team. But yeah, that's how I got involved in OzTag.
Now, Pooney?
Yeah, for me, I didn't start too long ago. It would have been 2017 in spring where I made a team in Medevac, just one social team. And around that time, I had a friend telling me all about OzTag and all the good things about the sport. So I was really intrigued. And at the time, I didn't really have anything else to do. So I grabbed a bunch of school friends to play with. And the season after, they pretty much all just left me because they were like, nah, fuck the sport. We don't want to play anymore. So everyone just left. And at that point, I had to, I guess, find people in the area just to play with. So I just grabbed around a bunch of people just around, made a team and kept playing. And after that, I kind of realized I like the sport a bit. So I started playing as many days as I could. And from there, I kind of just, I guess, ended up trying out for a rep team, making it into that. And then just, yeah, I guess the rest is history. Ended up playing a lot. So yeah, OzTag really is life.
For you, it definitely is. Okay, boys, tell us. Let's go a little bit deeper. What are some of your greatest achievements in OzTag? Now, you've both played reps. So, what would be the pinnacle of playing tag for you?
Me first. Well, like I guess, can I change your question? I wouldn't really say that that they're my highest achievements, but I definitely have some like memorable moments.
Yep.
Around 2 years ago, I injured my groin. From there, I learned how to dip. So that's definitely one of my most memorable moments. I think early on, I reckon, playing my first state cup, one of the most memorable moments is always scoring your first try. So I guess scoring any try in a competitive situation is just exhilarating. So I always remember that first one. I basically did nothing. Everyone on my inside did everything they needed to do, and it just passed me the ball. I walked over and put it down.
Easiest try you'll get.
Yeah, that's pretty much what you do as a winger. You just walk over the line and put it down. I guess another memorable moment for me is playing in the Hong Kong mixed team in Oceania. That was a really good experience, just going down there with a team with like zero expectations pretty much and just giving it all we got, like pretty much every game. I think in that last game against Lebanon, it was such a, I guess, adrenaline-filled game, and there was just so much pressure and everything, and that just really ended up well when we beat them in a dramatic dropout situation. And a few of like my other, I guess, memorable moments is playing just like, I guess, in like social teams around Sydney, just in Homebush and Ryde and Fairfield. And I guess some of my more memorable moments was playing in Div 1 in Homebush and Fairfield, and just being carried to to winning but basically winning Div 1 by a bunch of girls. All the best girls I've ever played with, so shout out to them. Yeah, pretty much that's not. I don't really have, I would say, great achievements in the sport, but just a lot of memorable moments over the years, and it's been really fun so far.
Well, that seems like that's pretty much everything in Ostag you've done.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, my best moments there, so let's just keep with that.
Jono, let's hear your greatest achievement so far.
Oh, I don't really have many greatest achievements as well. Probably some more memorable moments.
We don't achieve much.
Yeah, I'd say making it to the third day for Fairfield Division 2. That was like my second state cup. Never really made the third day before, but we had a pretty good team. And yeah, that was pretty good. We lost to Penrith in a very tight game. I think we lost by 1. I'd say scoring that try I scored last year, where I dived. I don't think Cooney believed I could dive until he saw me do it. Yeah, he asked me where I learned that. I was like, I don't know. I used to swim, so yeah. What else? I think that's probably it. I don't really have too many high achievements, as I said.
Well, hopefully there will be some more achievements.
Hopefully this year with the team that we have now. Hopefully.
Well, hopefully. You never know what's around the corner. So, but in talking about the team that you're a part of, now, Pooney, this is your second year basically looking after the team.
Mm-hmm.
And Jono, this is your first year. So let's talk about why you got involved and decide to take a punt on, managing and coaching combined as well.
Yeah. I guess, well, this pretty much started, I would say 2018 Sydney Cup, when basically there was like a chance to just create, I guess like a semi-rep team for Sydney Cup. So I just basically put together all my friends, just so I could play at a higher level. And we played in that Division 2, and I guess we ended up winning by beating your team Chambers. So just so you know, we won in that game, that very last game, the grand final, yeah.
Don't forget it as well.
And I think basically after that, I think you were just looking to, I guess, start the Div 2 team for State Cup, and I guess you mentioned it to me, or you suggested that potentially when the time came that it might be an option. And so I think later that year, you basically brought it up again, and I was like, look, if I try it for the team, I might not make it in, so I might as well just run with it and I guess coach it or manage it and just see how it goes. So I guess after my first time playing State Cup with Fairfield in 2017, I just thought that experience was so good, and I just thought it'd be such a waste if there wasn't a Div 2 team, or like just because I just wanted to give them like an opportunity to play at a rep level. Because I guess my whole time that I had in 2017 was really fun, so I just thought it'd be a good idea to just kind of like bring it together and let it go for that year. Yeah, so that's kind of how it started. I don't know about you, Jono. What do you reckon?
I think playing for a few years at Fairfield and then playing for under Pooney last year, I think I wanted to give him a bit of a help this year, and he said he was going to help coach it, and then bring everything that I've learned over the years playing tag to a bunch of boys that I feel like we could kind of get pretty far in State Cup. So yeah, that's probably why I got involved, just to teach the boys what I've learned, maybe figure out if what I've learned can actually win a State Cup as well. So yeah.
Okay, in a quick summary, what makes both of you coaches? Give us a quick summary of it.
I think what makes Pooney coaches is he's a pretty good leader. Yeah, so Pooney's very good at micromanaging everybody. And,
he's blushing at the moment, though.
I'm sunburned. It's been sunny today. Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
And then I think Pooney's a pretty popular guy, so he can bring a whole bunch of people together and make them work for each other. Yeah, so I think that's what.
What about you?
I just gave you some tips, so you can give me some.
Okay, well, I would say that we're, I guess, relatively junior coaches. It's not like we've been playing the sport for 20 years and we've got like a shitload of experience. So essentially, I guess what makes us the coaches is that, well, I, like as a junior coach and someone with not a heap of experience, I like to kind of listen to the team and just ask everyone for input on like a weekly basis. I pretty much ask Jono like every second day about something about the team and just what he thinks would be a good idea. And so I guess I feel like my job isn't really to tell everyone and just get them to listen to exactly what I want, but it's more to facilitate what everyone wants and what everyone would feel more comfortable playing and whatever gameplay or game style they want to like learn. So I guess my role as a coach, or I guess partly a manager, is just to organize the training sessions, make sure that we're doing like the right things in the training sessions, warming up properly, getting our fitness in, focusing on the right things like defense first of all, and then just collating all the information that I'm getting from the rest of the players, because those players around me, they've all been playing for as long as I have as well, and they've all seen, I guess, different experiences in different teams and all that. So I just think it's a good idea to, I guess, collate and facilitate what they want, and that's kind of what we do every Sunday. We just go out in the field, we play together, we kind of get closer. I also reckon that as a coach, there's also a part of coaching where you need to be able to, I guess, bring everyone together so that you can get the most out of everyone in one go. So I guess what I want to do, maybe not something that I'm great at yet, but something that I want to do is just learn how to get 100% out of every player every time they jump in the field. And we're going to need to do it for like the whole 3 days and that weekend up in the State Cup. So I think the best way to do it is just to create a culture where everyone wants to play for each other. Yeah, there's no point going up there and just playing for yourself in a rep team, right? So as coaches, we really need to, I guess, cultivate a culture within our team where everyone just really wants to fucking give their 100% every game and like just leave it all in the field and play for each other as well, because that's how you're going to get a good team that's actually going to go somewhere. Yeah,
well, that makes perfect sense in what you boys are saying. Now, talking about the team, given that you have a certain mindset in the way that you want the team to operate, what are your expectations heading into State Cup this year, given that, we've gone on a 3-month break, you only came back to training today. So what are you expecting when you head up to the tournament?
Don't
know. Expect everyone to just help each other get better, help each other grow as players. That's pretty much mainly what we kind of put out to the boys today. I think we've had a good break. Everyone needed a break. This is, I think, the first time we've actually been forced into an off season. I don't really feel like OzTag is an off season. So
never has one.
Yeah. So it was good for everyone to just have a mental kind of break. And then what we said to the boys was, let's just work every week, help each other get better, help each other learn things that we want to learn. Maybe if Link wants to learn how to play with a Rome, help them develop those skills so they can maybe pass to that wing a bit better, things like that. Just to, I guess, bring some more cohesiveness to our attack, especially. Prini.
So I guess the expectations that we had, I would say before COVID, were a little different to what we kind of have now. I think before there may have been, I guess, a focus on winning and basically just doing everything we can to win. And I feel as if, like, now that we've had a chance to have a break, we've had a chance to kind of come together and just like re-strategize over what we want this campaign to be. And I think that my expectations for the coming State Cup is it would be really good for us, to switch the mindset, just not just solely on winning, but from like, I guess, developing ourselves and just learning and having a good time together. I think it's underrated, not underrated, but I think it's sometimes overlooked in the fact that you should kind of come together and have a good time and a good experience when you go to State Cup. And you need to be coming every week and kind of enjoying yourself when you're training, when you're playing the sport. So I feel as if the expectation, like, I guess personally, I don't know if I haven't really talked about this, John, yet, but I feel like the expectation should be that everyone goes to training on Sundays and they enjoy themselves. Everyone sees each other and they realize that they're teammates and, they want to be with each other. Like, they want to hang out, they want to kick back, they want to, I guess, just create a culture there. And the expectation is when we go to State Cup that we enjoy ourselves by learning a lot there and by just giving our 100% there. Like, it's not always about winning. Obviously, it's great when you win, and obviously when you give your 100%, you're more likely to win. But the expectation should be driven by, I guess, just enjoying yourself. Yeah, that's what this sport is all about, and that's why people play it. It's because they actually enjoy playing it. Yeah. So I guess that's pretty much it.
Before I ask you your next question, you make sure that Garnsey cops it in suicides next time. Yeah. Right, because he's going to get a mouthful from me.
I haven't seen him in so long. He's probably just been deleting beers the whole time.
No, well, he's not deleting beers right now. He's definitely putting stuff up in on here in the comments.
Putting it
Okay. Okay, so talking about all that now, I'm going to ask a question, but I'm going to reword it to basically what I've spoken to you about. Now, obviously, you two both being coaches of the Division 2 team. Now, is it your role in that you're preparing players to move into Division 1 in due time? Or is it basically just you're preparing for that team only, nothing else matters, and that's basically it? Like, do you see yourselves mentoring these players to move on? Or is it a stop?
Any thoughts, John?
Yes, I think it is our role to help these players develop into a better player, which kind of gives them a pathway to play Division 1. Because I guess what used to be kind of the thing around town is that Division 1 Ryde-Eastwood odd tag is pretty thick. There's no way you can get in. I think we've got to change that. Because some of these boys in our team, I feel like can play Div 1 in due time. So it is our role as coaches and mentors to help these guys develop their skills and develop their confidence in their own game. So turn up to a Division 1 tryout and make the squad. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I feel like we've had a long talk about this already, Seamus, so I feel like I'm repeating myself.
Well, let's just make sure it's a short answer because you do drag on with your analysis.
Okay, look, I'll keep it short, but I think essentially I agree with, I guess, the plan that you have for Div 1 and 2. I was talking to Bernie as well, and we were kind of comparing it to NRL grading and all that. So in the NRL, they basically have the A grade team, which has B grade players feeding into that. And if we're going to simulate that with Ryde, then essentially everyone should be aiming to get into Div 1. Everyone should be trying the hardest to train to get to that level to get there, because that's where you should technically, I guess, see yourself ending up. So I guess everything that we're doing with our Div 2 players and our Div 2 team is trying to foster, I guess, all that development and just the mindset that all the players want to get to that level. I think at the moment there's still a bit of, it's still going to take a bit of time to change, I guess, that mindset, because a lot of people want to play Div 2 to win, or they want to play with their friends and stuff like that. But eventually, I think some people need to see the bigger picture and just see that if you're playing for the area, it should be about the area. So for Ryde, it should be about making Ryde as strong as it can be in Div 1 and as strong as it can be in Div 2. So you just have your best 16 players, yeah, and then your next 16 should play in Div 2. That's pretty much what we talked about before. I just think at the moment it might be disruptive for players to be pulled out of Div 2 and pushed into Div 1, especially if that's not their intention to play Div 1. So I think that's where we kind of have to, like, I guess, bring in more shadows, bring in more developmental players to kind of have a large pool of players to pick from in Div 2, so that if anyone goes from Div 2 to Div 1, you can just have any shadow basically jump in, because they've been coming every week to training and they would know exactly how the team wants to play already. So whatever hole that Div 2 player leaves when he goes to Div 1, a shadow should just slip in pretty much.
Every way you got to look at it, there's always going to be teething problems no matter what.
Yeah.
And it's a matter of having every single person involved on the same page. But as we head into the last question, boys, and talking about shadows, now, what advice would you give to all the males out there that were looking at making that step from social comp to state cup, given that you know very well how difficult it can be at times for people to make that jump?
I think, coming from personal experience, I rocked up to a Fairfield Oztag trial knowing no one. I was lucky enough to have a good player on the inside of me. I was playing link at the time. Just show us what you got, turn up to a trial, do your best, stay hungry, stay humble at the same time, and then, and take care of your body, or else you can't play tag anyway. So.
That's good coming from a physio.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to take care of your body by going to FXNL rehab. So look out up on Google. Shout out to FXNL. I'd say for someone who's like, I guess, looking to go from socials to rep, it's all about, I guess, just taking every opportunity to learn more. So if you know there are like friendlies on Sundays, then go and play. If you know there are better players playing somewhere else, just see if you can rock up through someone you know. Don't just rock up uninvited, but try and just get more exposure to the sport and ask people what they think about, certain aspects of the game. it's always good to see someone who's just hungry to learn and who doesn't think that they're better than, I guess, what they are, because I guess that kind of puts a cap on what people can do. And it's also really good to just play more, get more exposure. The more you play, the more you see on the field. And the more you see on the field, the more you understand the game. And once you understand the game more, you can then, I guess, consciously move your body into the places where you need to be a better player. So I guess just playing as much as you can. I mean, if your body can pick up 7 games a week, then just do that. It just depends on how much you like and how badly you want to get into, I guess, a rep team or step up into that. But yeah, definitely play as much as you can and do it sustainably. Try not to destroy your bodies in the process, but just, yeah.
Don't play 7 games a week. Yeah,
Yeah, that's wise word, Jonos. Yeah, definitely don't play 7 games a week. Otherwise, you'll be thrashed after a while. But boys, look, I do appreciate everything you're doing with the men's team. You know, and I continually look forward to working with you guys. But I do appreciate you giving up your time tonight to speak to us all.
That's right. He was coming over anyway.
Yeah, it was a sleepover, like what Elian said. So, all right, thanks for that, boys. Have a good one.
All right, yeah. Shout out, Will.
Okay, everyone, that was Michael Poon and Jonathan Trin, who are the coaches of the Ryde-Eastwood men's B team. Now, we're going to head into our last special guest, and it's one of our favourites in Simone Malaro. So, Simone, if you're there right now, send us a request. I'm going to have a quick squiz, see if I can find you. Actually, I can find you myself. Now, everyone tuning in, Simone is... she's been around for a long time, and she'll be able to give an insight into basically what tag has been like and her experiences as well, along with the fact that she's a life member and the junior coordinator for Meadowbank Oztag and also Carlingford Oztag. So we're just waiting for it to connect with Simone. Make sure if you're tuning in, guys, you give a thumbs up or a wave so that you can go into the draw for a prize on the last week. Simone, how are you?
Hello. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Not too bad. It's good to see you again. It's been...
Thank you. I had some technical issues. I had to have Sam help me connect.
Good on Sam. Okay, so, mate, let's get stuck straight into this so we're not taking up too much of your time. Let's go back to when it all started for you in Oztag. How and when did you start?
I want to say 1997. There was a guy that I knew through work just rang me up and asked me to fill in his Oztag week park comp down at Tempe. And I'd only ever played really touch football in high school. And then, I just went down and played a game and I did okay. And they asked me to come back and continue playing with them. So I finished out the season. There was only a couple of weeks left. And then they signed me up for the following season, and it just so happened that the coach of the St George Opens mixed team happened to play in that team, and he saw me play, and he invited me to go and try out for the St George Rep Opens team. And so that was 1998.
Wow.
And so I played a few seasons with St George mixed, and happened to be... fortunate enough to win State Cup in the year 2000, which I have my...
Wow, she's pulled it out, yep.
Yep.
New South Wales State Cup 2000.
Yeah, the lovely quality of what we'd win. And so I played a few seasons with St George, and after playing mixed, I moved on to women's, and I played women's opens for St George. And there was a big thing... with the Cronulla Women's Opens team, had never been beaten ever since the inception of Oztag. And the year 2003, I was playing, and we were the underdogs, massive underdogs, St George Women's, and we made it to the final, and we played against Cronulla, who had not even been beaten in a pool game in all that time. It was ridiculous, the strength of that team. And they already had it won. They'd even said to Perry, we're sick of getting hoodies, we're sick of jackets, give us something different. So they got, when we won, we were all excited about getting these hoodies that everyone's after, or the winner's jackets. And we ended up getting a wine glass. I don't know if you can see it. It says State Cup Champions 2003, a key ring and a little esky cooler. So we felt really ripped off. But anyway, so after playing for St George, I ended up, I actually played a park comp down at Wentworth Park, I put a women's team in, and that was in, I think, 1998, and that's when I met the famous fastest man in OzTag, Mr. Fidel Kassem. Yep, and back then, I remember him charging around the field, and he had like braids in his hair with beads, like, yeah, and John Florio was down there helping him run the comp, and I think Fidel's brother. And that's when I sort of started up my friendship with Fidel. So that's been since I think 1998. Yeah, and then from there he was always saying to me, "Why are you playing over in St George? Come and play here." And it was just that, you know, I knew a few people over there. And then after I had kids, I made the change over to Fidel's comps, and the rest is history.
Wow,
so to speak.
That's quite a good way to start in OzTag. Now, obviously, from winning state cups, you've won a nationals, you have done so much within the sport. What would you say was probably your most significant moment?
It's very hard to nail it down to one. I've been really fortunate. I was fortunate enough to tour in 2017 Ireland with on the Ireland tour, and we played a tri-series against Ireland and Great Britain and the women's seniors. We were successful winning that over a 2-day tournament, so that was a highlight. Playing in the World Cup was also a highlight, but I think the biggest standout for me, and this is why I'm giving a shout out to this ugly shirt, the clown vomit shirt, would have to be 2018, when our women's team, we were fortunate enough to win nationals, which was awesome. And in that same year, you know, just to top it all off, I was made a life member of the Sydney Warriors.
Okay, well, talking about life membership now, obviously, how would you describe the feeling for that? Because that is something very significant, and you are part of an exclusive group. Yeah, definitely. I was very overwhelmed at the time. It was really nice to have sort of get the accolade of it, and the recognition, and it was lovely, the words that you said up there, and Fidel, and just, you know, it was just nice being around my peers and people that sort of, you know, the group in the room was really good. Everyone were up there for nationals. It was the Warriors Club, and then just, you know, people that I play in, week out with and against at Ryde, just, you know, sort of cheering for you. It's a really nice feeling. So. All right, so you've done a lot within the sport for a long time, and I've obviously come to you for a number of years since I've been involved, and you are one of the greatest people to ever come across. And I'm pretty sure all your girls would easily admit that. But let's talk about junior OzTag though. Now, yes. You've been involved for a number of years. What made you get involved in it though?
Again, through my friendship with Fidel and Mel at the time. My brother-in-law, Matthew, was actually playing juniors. I think he was about 12 at the time, and they had a park comp started up at Baronia Park in Ryde, and I used to take him to that. And from time to time, I'd give Mel a hand if she was short on a ref or whatever, and I sort of got involved that way. And then I sort of ran a couple of comps, I think 1 or 2 years in a row for Fidel, and then I ended up having my second baby, I think, or something come up with work and I was too busy. And then about 4 years ago, I think, Fidel approached me again to become involved in juniors, because he needed someone to do it. And that's when I sort of, you know, really got stuck into the Ryde juniors to begin with. And this will be my, I think, going into my 3rd year looking after Carlingford as well. Okay,
so in that time, I've witnessed it double in size. Now, it all comes down to hard work, but can you tell us exactly what kind of hard work actually goes into establishing something like this?
It's a lot of thinking outside the square. Obviously, going to schools, networking through the community, the people that I know, through my contacts through playing soccer. All my kids' friends, I all get them involved and get them to play, and then get them word of mouth saying, tell your friends, make a team, do this, do that. I go around to all the local schools and drop off flyers. We've tried to get do some clinics for some of the junior schools, and we're really going to get stuck into that this year. But with the COVID, that sort of, you know, hit that on the head. yeah, there's a lot of lead up work, as you would know, running a comp yourself, going into it. But the key to a junior comp is keeping the parents happy and providing a good product, and just ultimately making sure the kids enjoy themselves, which is important to me.
So would you say, obviously dealing with parents, is that probably one of your difficulties that you have in running the competition, because you're not just dealing direct with one person like what I am, but with you, you're dealing with tons of parents.
Yeah, it can be sometimes challenging, but you know, what you've got to remember is everyone wants the best for their child. Everyone wants their child to have a go. And sometimes I run into a bit of a challenge. I get a lot of individual registrations come through. Like, for example, the last comp that I did, I think between the two comps, I had 90 kids come to me as individuals. And to try and put all these kids together in a team and get someone to be the delegate and make sure that they show up, because the worst thing is organising a team, saying kids that yes, we want to play, yes, we've paid our registration, but then getting them to show up. I've had a team miss a time slot and a lady come and abuse me and expecting me to materialise a team out of thin air for her kids to play against. So there's always challenges, and you know, you learn that the hard way and how to avoid it. But yeah.
It takes time.
Oh, it takes a lot of time.
Now, if we go back to you saying that you like to think outside the box, which you always do, you always come with some brilliant ideas, you know, which I've adopted. So that's why credit always goes to you. Now, what do you have planned for Junior Oztag? Now, you're obviously going to think outside the box for this one. So where are you heading, and where do you want to see it go to?
Okay, well, obviously we want to see growth. Yep. There's a lot of potential in our area. There's a lot of talent. The junior sport Ryde for kids is very soccer strong, very, very soccer strong. So I'm really trying to get the kids over from soccer to play Oztag. You know, I don't know how COVID's going to affect our junior comp coming up. Hopefully we'll be even bigger and better than what we were before. But I'd love to be able to get a sponsor for the junior comp, for the reps. I'm really pushing reps. This year we really pushed the Junior State Cup. We had teams, we had 9s, 10s, 11s in the juniors. Yep. That was held at Bass Hill, and we took a under-12 girls team up to Coffs Harbour for State Cup. And the girls didn't win a game, but by the end of it, they were all friends. They're all doing TikToks together, and some of them had never had that experience of playing representative anything before, and they loved it. And it was just, you know, such a good experience. And I hope that a lot of them will remember it forever. And they're already saying, when can we do it again? It was so much fun, you know, and them just talking about that, and they go to their school and talk to their friends or talk to family or whatever, it just can only benefit our comp.
Yeah, it all has a chain reaction, that it just starts from a word of mouth, and just someone experiencing something within a culture can basically have a massive influence on everyone else around them.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so I'm going to head into the last question now. Obviously, for the senior competition, we're in a younger generation now, where the average age is roughly around that 25 mark, and we've got a new lot of crop of people coming through. But obviously with this segment, people are going to be able to review back to it in a long time, and when they do decide to have kids, which everyone's going to eventually have kids, what advice would you give these people, given that you're a proud mother of 2 kids and they both play Oztag? What advice would you give them for future?
Oh, look, obviously they play Oztag. They love it. There's been plenty. He's a future star of Oztag coming up. She's proudly wearing her Ryde Broncos outfit. So look, we've seen so many Oztag relationships created. I think the most recent one was, Speedy and Heather getting married. Yeah. I think, you know, so there's going to be plenty of Oztag babies. I don't think there's going to be a shortage of people wanting to play in our junior comps. But, I mean, people will get the kids involved naturally, because, Philip and I are really into Oztag. So naturally, you know, it was a natural progression for the kids to become involved. I think and people will come to me and say, you know, what can Oztag, why should I put my child in Oztag? And I say, well, because it's better than league. If you're scared of them having, you know, the contact, OzTag's perfect for them, and it brings some of the smaller, more timid kids into the game, and the lift that they get to their self-confidence is it's remarkable. I've had parents come up to me at the end of the tournament saying, oh, I can't believe how much my child loves it, and they've finally found a sport that they're really good at, because a lot of the kids, they love the league, but they're scared of the contact, and that's why they play soccer or, whatever other sport. So that's why once you get a kid playing and they get a taste of it, they're hooked. And what I've done in the junior comp with the 5, 6 and 7-year-olds, if they haven't had experience before with OzTag, I've created something called Tiny Taggers, where we have 5 kids on a reduced size field with a parent on there, so at least they get an opportunity to run with the ball and experience the game and learn the fundamentals before they're thrown onto the full field, or again a slightly larger field. And the kids love it. Like last season was the first season that we ran the concept, and I had amazing feedback, because all the kids do is, at that age, they don't pass the ball, they just pick it up and run. Yeah. And they scored try after try after try after try, and the parents loved it, the kids loved it, and it was a good introduction into OzTag, because previously what I found is I'd get a team of 6-year-olds trying to play OzTag and having 8 players on a team, 16, I don't know if anyone's had much experience with kids, but having 16 6-year-olds on a field with one ball is mayhem. Yeah. And, the kids could be on the field and not touch the ball, not even once in an entire game. And so we'd lose these teams. They wouldn't come back and play the following year, because they'd say, oh, this sport's rubbish, we're not going to get a go. So that's why that we created the Tiny Taggers, to get them, involved and experienced. And then from there they can transition into, the style that we play as adults. The other thing that I'd really love to do is create a bit more of a mentor program. I've been doing it with my own daughter during the COVID. What we've done is, a couple of us girls have been getting together and playing 5-on-5 games or 4-on-4, and I've been taking her with us. And just from that experience, her game has gone to another level. I mean, she was playing against grown men, and she's learned to hip, and, it's amazing. Her confidence.
It all comes down to the older generation, basically giving back to the younger generation, and they're coming.
Yeah, exactly. And even some of the girls, like some of the newer girls and the younger ones coming through the 20s and the women's opens, I'd love for them to come and train with our women's seniors to get the experience that we have. I know that they think we're old and all this sort of stuff, but to be able to give my experience to someone that's young and talented, I'd love to have my time over again. And the old saying is to know what I know now, but be able to go back in time. I'd love to be able to pass that on to someone. And, I love getting, one of the girls and trying to mentor them and teach them what I know about the game to improve them. And I'd love to sort of have some sort of program at Ryde where we can pass this on. I mean, in our women's seniors team, currently we've got probably about at least 8 Australian players current and past. That's experience, and we're so lucky and fortunate to have that at our club, and we should be using these players to mentor some of the other ones coming through, because it's only going to help our club and help us to be a force to be reckoned with going forward.
Well, I definitely think once we all get back into the normality of things after this whole pandemic that we've had, it will definitely be something that we do touch on. And as coaches, between yourself, me, and the others, we are looking at ways to strategize and improve the standards at Ryde. But look, Simone, I really do appreciate you coming on and giving your insight. It's always a pleasure talking to you. So I know big things are heading with the juniors, and I can't wait to see it to continually grow. Yeah,
well, the juniors is our future, especially for reps. So if anyone's got any kids out there that want to play, we'll have the comp starting up the end of October down at Meadowbank Park on Tuesdays. And then we've also got the Carlingford comp that'll be on Wednesdays. But definitely get your kids involved, and they're never too young, especially with the Tiny Taggers program. Especially with the Tiny Taggers. It's, a great way to get them involved. And if, it's, and what I love about Ryde is it's got such a family feel to it, such a good community that you've cultivated, Seamus, so you should be really proud of that.
No, look, I won't take any credit for it because it comes down to everyone else that's involved, and I put it back to
Yeah.
you and every single person that signs up. So the credit always goes back to everyone else. It's not me. I just put things in place, but it's everyone else that abides by it.
But it's great because like on a Monday night, and you should have asked me who one of my nemesis is, Annie. Monday nights I play against her. She gives it to me non-stop, absolutely drills me. I played in a tens tournament, and I heard her say, "Kick it at Simone. She's old and slow." Right? Then that afternoon, she's back at my house, swimming in my pool, drinking beers out of my fridge. My best friend. And then, so like I said, she'll give it to me on a Monday night. Then on a Tuesday night, we'll be playing together in the same team. And that's what I love about Ryde. Like, there's always that competitive spirit, and you end up playing against these people in park comp, and then you come together in reps, and it's amazing. And you know, such good friendships have been established through it, and not just for me, but for everyone. And just, I've played in a lot of comps. I've played at Cronulla, St George, you know, all around. And the feel at Ryde is so different. Everyone looks out for each other, and that's one thing that I'm seeing. So, and it's a great culture, and we can only get better from here.
Definitely. But look, Simone, I really appreciate it. Thank you for giving up your time. I'll let you get back to the family, and
No problems.
I'll see you
No
tomorrow,
problems.
hopefully.
Yes. See you, Seamus.
See ya. Okay, everyone, that was Simone Malaro. You know, she's been involved in Ryde-Eastwood Ice Tag for a long time, and someone that I confide to numerous amount of times about things on how the competition operates. So, guys, that's our special guest for tonight. Now, next week we have got Rowan Williams. He's a friend of mine who's been around to multiple comps, and he's been part of Ryde as well for a number of years, well before my time even coming in. We have the great Todd Palmer, who's captain of the Ryde-Eastwood men's team, the team that I'm coaching. And then lastly, which I'm excited about this one, we have Jeff, I'm going to try to pronounce it, Coronas, who's the Australian Men's Opens coach. Now, he'll be joining us as a special guest, so it'll be good to get some insight from him. So, guys, if you have any special questions for next week, just be sure to send them through. You definitely want to get some information off these guys. So, guys, I do appreciate everything that you're doing in supporting our segment. Any feedback, always greatly welcomed. And once this video goes up, be sure to give it a like, and, you know, tell your friends to follow us. And just remember, next week we're back at Tag, guys. So thank you for everything, and have a good night, guys. See you soon.